Hi guys, my name is Jessica with fulfilledandabundant.com. Today I get the amazing pleasure of interviewing Kat, owner of The Simplified Life. I absolutely love what she does, and I absolutely love Kat. So let's start out with Kat. What do you do?
Hi, I absolutely love you too, Jess. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. My name is Kat. As she said, I own The Simplified Life, and I help overwhelmed women remove the clutter to uncover a life they love.
How amazing. So I know that you're magic at your job. I've had the amazing pleasure of working together with you, and I get to see it. I get to see you doing it, and it's really fun. You're so compassionate. You're really great at holding space for the chaos while being centered for your client. And you really do create the magic. So do you have a story on the top of your head?
Oh gosh, I have many. Being able to hold space like that comes from doing it myself. I mean, I started out life an overwhelmed pack rat, hoarder before that was even a thing or a catchphrase. I had probably 70 collections going in childhood. I never met a rock I didn't like and want to keep. That's probably still true, actually. But in moving over 10 times in under 10 years, I realized that every single time I moved, I would let go of stuff just because I was broke. It was college, whatever. U-Hauls are expensive, so I tried just to use my car. And every single time I moved into this newer space, there was less stuff. And eventually it got to a point where everything wasn't covered in crap. And I was like, oh my gosh, I feel better here. And I think that's part of what my magic is, other than just making people put it on their calendar and do it, because honestly, that's a solid 60% of it. But I've been there, and I'm not a minimalist at heart. I'm not a person that's like, oh yeah, just get rid of it. I had a client throw away one of her high school diploma, and I was like, oh my God, are you sure? Like, don't throw that away. So I feel like I'm really relatable and that I can put myself in the client's shoes because I've been there. But I've also now been on the other side of that. I've been doing this professionally for about 14 years. And in that time, I've kind of perfected it in my own life as much as one can perfect anything. So I typically live in a space that is calming and soothing, and I'm able to, I think, be relatable and showing clients like you actually can feel better in your space. When you do this job, when you let go of these things, it does make a huge impact. But I think the magic wand part is just making them schedule it and do it.
Oh,
and
you're
back. So.
Ooh, I love the mug.
Oh, yes.
Show us. So you can buy one of the mugs if you want.
You can. They're on my website. Always be branding. Pro tip for anyone with a business. Plus, it's,
yeah.
I was gonna say, this is my daily reminder to myself: less stuff, more life. Because again, my tendency is like, hey, let's go shopping. Let's go buy stuff. Let's go get new things. And then I get home and I'm like, oh crap, there's no room here for it. I don't want this. It actually isn't serving me. So.
Yeah. And it takes time to clean it and take care of it and
trip over it, be mad at it, wonder why I spent that money on it in the first place. So again, yeah, it's just coming from a place of like, I've been there. The orderly and neat is not my natural habitat, and Jess you can attest to this because you have traveled with me and you have seen what happens when I get to a hotel room and there's like a spring in my suitcase and it just goes everywhere, and then everything's covered in shit. So if I can do this, anyone can do this. If I can make this a habit and a mindset, anyone can. So
it does take practice.
It does.
So, okay, someone is overwhelmed in their house and they've never heard of hiring a professional organizer before, but they're watching this video. Where's the first place for them to start?
First, go to thesimplifiedlife.com and grab my phone number on there and call me. The first place, so maybe hiring a professional is in your wheelhouse, maybe it's not. For one thing though, typically don't, if you see someone on TaskRabbit and it's like $20 an hour, we are professionals for a reason. We're more efficient, more effective. We've done it. Like I said, I've been doing this with over 1,000 clients for 14 years. But if you're going to start on a little self journey, it's kind of the same as what I do with my clients. And that is go in and pick the spot that you're like, oh my God, if I have to look at this mess one more day, like I'm going to just burn the house down. Start there. Because when you start to see a little bit of improvement there, that gets the ball rolling. You're like, oh, hey, I can do this. And starting there, let's say it's your kitchen. It might not look like tackling your whole kitchen in one day. And actually, I highly recommend not to do that unless you do have a professional there, because you will just wind up overwhelmed. So pick maybe one spot. One of the biggest wins is usually expired food. Even for the people that swear on their Bible that they have just cleaned out their expired food, I guarantee there's expired food in there. Prove me wrong. Go ahead. So if you start there, usually, God, the most recent client I did, we cleared out 7, like the huge white tall kitchen bags, 7 bags full of food. So immediately you're in the kitchen.
They have a big kitchen.
No, it wasn't even. That's the thing. It's kind of deceiving. Like this was just one little, very shallow pantry area. And we're like, where did all this come from? Like, how did this even fit in there? But it did. And so typically, if you can attack some area like that, where you're going to see a very big difference in 10 to 20 minutes, and you just think, like, if you pulled a full bag out in 10 minutes, oh my gosh, like you're going to feel good. Then the trick is also to get it immediately out of the house. So don't just let those bags sit there. Even if maybe your trash can is full, take it immediately out toward the trash can, put it by the trash can. Most trash services will actually pick up additional bags, some for a nominal fee, or most places will do a bulky item pickup twice a year, and they'll usually take about 12 bags. So key, start someplace that is driving you crazy because it's going to make you feel better. It's going to scratch that itch. Do something for 10 to 20 minutes, no longer than 20 minutes. It's called the Pomodoro technique. Set your timer on your clock. That way, mentally, you have an end time. And it's not like, oh gosh, I have to do this whole kitchen. Oh, never mind, I'm gonna go watch Netflix. It's like, okay, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I can do this. And if you're super nervous, set it for 5. And then if you go toward 10, stop and then celebrate, praise yourself, do a happy dance, dance it out on whatever. Like we were just dancing to Higher Love. I highly recommend that song to pump yourself up before you do any of this type of work. So yes, pick the spot that annoys you, do something for 10 to 20 minutes, do not overwhelm yourself, and go for something with the biggest gain. Do not start with paper. I have spent 10 hours this past week sorting paper for a client in a teeny tiny office, and that, don't start there. You'll never declutter ever again if you start there. Call me for that one, actually. So yeah, that's what I would start.
The best place to start is the kitchen or a tiny area.
Mm-hmm. And then break it down, because if the kitchen overwhelms you, and the reason we often say start with the kitchen is because there's typically not anything sentimental or overwhelming. You want to do sentimental and paper dead last. But if it overwhelms you, the kitchen, then say to yourself, okay, today I am going to do my spices. Do the spices. That's it. You won. You did a thing. Then today I'm going to look at canned food, or today I'm going to look at plates. So break it down, tiny time segments, and also just tiny projects. Keep it to one type of item. So there you go.
Awesome. And this is my approach as well when I organize with people. So,
and this is why we work well together.
Yeah.
I don't have to explain myself.
Yeah.
I love it.
And okay, so when was that point when you realize, like, you move 10 times and that's more than once a month?
Like, well, it was a lot. No, and actually I just tallied it. I've actually moved 20 times in 20 years, with the longest stint anywhere being 6 years in one apartment. I think I've moved 4 times in the last 2 years. So
You're a professional.
I know. I'm like, did my soul sign up to be like a professional mover? Is this like some karma from a past life? What is this? But very grateful for all the places I've lived in. But what was the question? What do you want to?
What was that moment that like, I actually feel better with less stuff?
Gosh, that had to have been I had a townhome down in LA. It was the cutest little thing ever. 2 stories. I had a roommate, but she was the best roommate ever because she was engaged, but she was Catholic. So she didn't want to tell her parents she was shacking up with her fiance. So she paid half the rent and was never there. It was fabulous. Anyway, that was the first place where I felt there was probably enough space. Like, it wasn't huge. I had a bedroom, little downstairs area. It was, probably under maybe 1,000 square feet total, but it was big enough, and I had fewer things. And it was kind of that first time where I was like, oh, okay. And that coincided with working a Hail Mary job at AAA as an insurance agent. And that job, working under fluorescent lights, I think I'm allergic to them, because I was like, oh my God, get me out of here.
Yeah, it's actually bad for your health.
Anecdotally, I can prove it was bad for my soul. It was bad. And from then I was watching Clean Sweep and Clean House on TV. And I think those are sort of the first of their kind, organizing, clean out, clean up shows. And I loved the ethos on one of them. I think it was Clean Sweep, where they would garage sale all the crap that people didn't like. And then they would use that money, the show would match it, and then they would buy them a few new nice things. And I was like, okay, I really like that ethos. Like, less crap, but a few nice things you really like. So maybe that was the start of minimalism getting into my brain. And from there, I just ended up organizing my cubicle a lot. And then the clients, I'm like, wow, very organized. And my coworkers were like, hey, can you organize our cubicles too? And I was like, can't you? This is easy. And I think that's really when it had finally like gotten into my DNA of like, this is easy to be organized, only have the stuff that you really love. And then wait, other people want me to do this for them? Is this a thing? I guess there's a TV show. Is professional organizer a thing? And I Googled it, and sure enough, there was the National Association of Professional Organizers. And long story for another time, but I happened to have a rental Corvette in the AAA parking lot. They moved me to a new office, told me on Friday I'd be reporting to a different one on Monday. I get there, it was horrid. I was like, you know what? I'm just starting my business. So I got in the Corvette and left, and the rest is history. But I think the genesis from there, I was like, okay, organizing, putting things in bins, labeling it, letting go of trash. But that minimalist, but I still didn't have a name for it, or really even a cognizant idea of what it was until probably 2016, that's what it was, when a client was like, hey, I'm a minimalist, but I want to be more minimal. And I'm like, I don't know what that is, but sure, I'll help. And so I show up and I'm like, what is this minimalist you speak of? And she's like, oh, there's these 2 guys, Josh and Ryan, they're amazing. And they got rid of everything and they're so much happier, and that's us. And I was like, okay, get rid of everything. That sounds horrible, but okay, well, I'll help you. And from that part of the journey, I think that's really what started maybe flipping that light bulb even full brightness of like, oh, it's the volume of stuff. So it's not just organized and neat, but it's also this volume and having the right amount for you. And I think that the minimalist name has kind of gotten a little bit tarnished or made fun of over the years. So like, oh, you have to get rid of everything. And you don't. You just have to have the right amount of stuff for your clutter threshold. And I was recently, hang on, my hair is attacking me. I was recently working with a client in LA, and he was like, oh gosh, oh, there's crap everywhere. Oh, I hate this. Oh, I just need to renovate the entire place and get rid of it. And I get there and I'm like, there's not much stuff here. And that's the thing. He had a really, really low clutter threshold. So maybe 4 items out on his counter was going to push him over the edge versus someone that maybe loves baking and has all their baking supplies out, but they see it and it makes them happy and energizes them. But for this guy, he's like, oh God, get rid of it. So I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. There's no one proper amount of stuff. And I get not made fun of, but joked about because of my sheer volume of Virgin America stuff. And you will all pry it from my cold dead hands. So, and I will buy anything else I see on eBay, and I will be very happy about that choice. And one day I will have a shrine or a museum dedicated just to them. And maybe Richard Branson will come and do the ribbon cutting. A girl can dream. But that's the thing. It's like I just worked with a different client, and we're cleaning out her kitchen because it was overwhelming. And this was a huge kitchen, and she packed it with Pampered Chef stuff because she had gone to like 500 different Pampered Chef parties and bought this and bought this and bought this. She hated to cook. So if you're going to shell out money on something, just make sure it's something you damn well love. Don't buy it because you should buy it. And that's what I come across a lot in people's homes. Maybe these collections they're keeping because they should, or because this is when you become 47 and you've made it to this point in your career, this is the wardrobe you should have. But actually, you really just want to wear your ripped jeans and your rocker tank, and that's perfectly fine. But they have this nice wardrobe. So go ahead. What were you going to say?
I love ripped jeans.
Yeah, me too. Even though people of a certain generation say, wow, did they come like that? Did you actually pay for that? I'm like, yes, I did. Because they look cute.
Yeah, my favorite ones are the ones that I made ripped. And I'm like, oh, the hole on the knee is so big.
I know my Levi's ones that came ripped are kind of like going up the leg a little. I'm like, I'm not sure if this was quite the vibe we're going for, but we're just going to go with it. So
cool.
I have some from, gosh, like 2003 Guess jeans that I have to find this. See, even I keep crap from 20 years ago. I have some clothes because I found it fun to go through my mom's clothes from the 60s and 70s. So
cool, yeah.
It's like, it's right sizing. It's just knowing what you love and then keeping that and letting go of the rest of the crap. And you don't necessarily have to love your garlic press that just popped into my mind, but I actually do love mine because the Graves was his last name, the architect turned designer, and he made this beautiful perfection piece of kitchen utensil in this garlic press, and it makes me happy. So find stuff you love, kiddos.
So I know how easy it is to discern what helps, what makes people. So sometimes people have a really hard time recognizing what they love. They're like, I don't know, I used it. So I know it's easy to recognize when you're with somebody because both of us are really about like, do you love it? Or, what's on the scale?
Yeah, 1 to 10.
So, but if people have a hard time, do you think that you could explain how to recognize what you really love right now?
Totally. Many times, every time, stuff and clutter is related to feelings and emotions. And usually clutter means there's a block in emotion. And so part of that is learning something most of us were not taught as children of how to get in touch with your feelings and your emotions. And so you might cognitively not know if you love something, but sometimes if you touch something, you kind of feel like, you feel a little lift or a little rise, or maybe you touch it and you slump a little bit. So that's one thing, is really starting to pay attention with your body and what its reactions are. Another thing is getting a couple design books or going on Pinterest and just maybe, typing in coastal homes or minimalist homes, or just try to think of the different types of homes you've heard of and seeing what photos you're actually drawn to. And I had a funny experience with a stylist. And he's like, what type of clothes, express you? And I was like, Kate Middleton. I was like, I want to look like Kate Middleton. Then he comes and he looks at my clothing. He's like, you're like more rock and roll. You need graphic tees, ripped jeans, and maybe a studded belt. And then I started thinking back to when I was 18 and didn't give a flying fuck what anyone thought about me. I was like, oh yeah, I rocked a studded belt like Hot Topic was the best store in the world, So looking back toward what you did around 18, 20, kind of those times when you were just being you out in the world before the world told you what you should be. Sometimes that can help also, or maybe thinking back then what your design ideas were, thinking about when you go to a hotel, what kind of hotel do you typically pick? And maybe it's a clean, serene one, and that might clue you in to a preference. Maybe it's one with all white linens and it's very modern, or maybe you really get drawn more toward the bed and breakfasts, or maybe you get drawn toward like a mid-century modern Palm Springs, fun, bright colors type of thing. So really looking toward what you're drawn to outside of your actual physical stuff can start to clue you in. But the biggest thing is your body. You're going to feel it. It's either going to go or, and it would probably be little tiny versions of those movements, like little tiny ones, but it's there. It is in there. I promise you, if you start to focus on that, it will come out. So
yeah, you'll recognize. At first it'll be confusing, but just stick with it, and then
totally. And then there's another one. I had a doctor client, so super smart, super in her brain, super smart, and she wasn't happy professionally. There's a lot going on. Clutter was all around, and happiness was in the next bottle or vial or lipstick of personal care products. She just knew it. But she also knew that wasn't actually the case, and that's why I was there helping her get through. And we couldn't logic it at all. Like logic was not working, because she's like, I know I should get rid of all this, but I don't want to. And I was like, okay, let's ask your body. And one thing you can do, hold on to an object and just say, show me my yes. And I find I tilt forward. It's almost imperceptible, but you can feel it. And then you say, show me my no. I personally tilt backwards, but I've seen both. And then with this client, we started doing that. And some of the products gave her like a lift. She's like, oh my gosh, that's like a hell yes. And I was like, okay, now we know what to keep. Keep the hell yes. Your body just told you. And because she's a doctor who deals with bodies, she was like, damn it. I can't, she couldn't get out of that one. She was like, oh, okay. And it was a massive breakthrough. We cleared out probably another 10 bags of product. And she felt light and bright and so much better. So your body knows the answer. Your body knows the answer. Your body knows the answer.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
And so you also go a little bit beyond organizing. Do you want to talk about your other things?
I'm like,
I know you do a lot, so I'm giving it to you.
Which one is she thinking about? You're leaving it up to me. I started doing tarot readings for pay, so you can find that on my store, which is, I'm actually really good at that. What else? So we have been shifting toward more of a holistic approach. So those emotions that I was just talking about, most people don't connect stuff with emotions. That's what I have found. I didn't, certainly, for 10 years. So if you want to go a little bit deeper into that, I have a course, a video course online with journal prompts, 4 videos, 4 journal packets, basically, just to help you really start getting in touch with why do I keep this? We have another course coming out. It'll be the 8 pillars.
Sorry, back up. What's the name of the course?
Oh, I'm sorry. Deep Dive Decluttering.
Deep Dive Decluttering.
Deep dive.
Okay, we'll include that link.
We will, because we're going to do a deep dive into there. Also do coaching, Zoom coaching, and
what kind of coaching? Business, personal?
D, all the above. One thing I found is that I absolutely love helping other women start their small businesses. And through my 14 years of trial and error, I could usually get a person up and going faster than, well, 14 years. Give me a month, I'll have you up and going. We even had a client, she was working in an office job and just not happy. She's very creative. And I came over just to organize her garage. And by the end of that, we'd spent 15 minutes and got her design website up on live on the internet. And she was like, that didn't take very long. I was like, yeah, because I know what I'm doing. Like, so I love just helping make a big shortcut to going from dream to reality with people's small businesses. The other type of coaching I do just one-on-one for decluttering. Currently working with an absolute sweetheart, and his office was just a disaster. It became the catch-all. So he was having to do his Zoom meetings out of his kids' room for a year. And finally was like, I can't do this. But he also didn't have the bandwidth to block out a huge chunk of time with me. And so what we did, we met for an hour, went through his office. He sent me photos. So I usually have you send me a few photos of the space. And then as we're on the phone, I made him go through a few of the piles. I showed him the parameters, keep, toss, donate, had him, had him get some of the stuff directly out of the space. So that was awesome. And then we set up on his calendar 10 minutes every day for the next week. And then his homework was to do what we told him. So it was, 10 minutes, 2 shelves, sort the 2 shelves. And then he's like, well, how do I check in with you? I'm like, you are going to text me and I am your accountability buddy. And so that's one way just to, yes, you will do it and you will like it and you will feel better. But by the end of our 1-hour coaching session, he could actually see the floor in this office for the first time in a year. And he's been very diligent in texting. So I love doing that. We will also be launching a lower cost group Zoom decluttering. I asked, they answered, and apparently that is our next big thing. So the basis of that will probably be 2 calls per week. You'll be able to check in with me, bring questions, have support as we're literally going through stuff live so that you get to see and feel. Remember I said, you want to see that progress because that's what's going to make you keep going. You want to see some progress, celebrate the progress. It just keeps you amped up. Otherwise, we just get overwhelmed. Gosh, there's so much. What else? I have a book that is at the editor. So I need to add in some stories, get those back to her, and then that will be hopefully launching spring 2022. I do have a beta version available on my website. So if you want just some daily decluttering prompts, that is all up on my website, available for purchase. Again, that's Simplified 365 is the working title. Who knows what it'll become. And then we will be doing an 8-week intensive course that goes through the main chapters in the book. So 1 week on the kitchen, 1 week on wardrobe, 1 week on finances, 1 week, what else? Garage, etc. So that one.
Yeah, garage hard.
I know. That's why you just call us. We'll come to your garage for you. It's way less painful. So yeah.
You're doing a lot.
Yes. But it's fun. It's fun. I love it. I'm just so amped and energized to do these new things. I'm also thinking about, I'm taking a business mastermind right now, and they're like, don't sit in swivel chairs. So pro tip, because I keep doing this and catching myself. But yeah, there's just so much fun stuff happening. We also just helped a fitness guru revamp her garage into a workout studio. So that was super awesome to see that like come together, and we got to shop and do decor. I actually help a lot of clients figure out some decor and different things like that. I am not an interior designer, but I do have a decent eye for that. So yeah.
Coming from someone that does have a degree in interior design, I do love Kat's taste.
Thank you. Thank you. I know my current home, it's funny because my taste changes a little bit wherever I am. So right now, and much like when I was in a studio in 2011, it's like this very kind of womb-like vibe with plants and jungalow everywhere. Previous spot was a little bit more spread out and mid-century modern. But it's fun. Your style can change. Never underestimate the power of a good throw pillow and changing the cover on it. So, can I tell the funny interior designer story?
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, go ahead.
So I met this gorgeous woman years ago. You may have known we were flight attendants together, and we hit it off. She was like, I'm starting my business. I'm like, I have my business. Let's do this thing. And then when you're a flight attendant, you kind of become best friends immediately because Virgin did a really good job of screening people. So you just feel like you've known them forever, which is amazing. Like I wish life had that screening, like here, take this program, then talk to me. But she had her business, I had mine. We ended up losing touch. Thanks to my now ex-husband, he gave me the gift of getting her back in my life because we had to go see his friends in San Diego and she was working the flight. And I was like, oh, it's her and her gorgeous hair. Yes. And she's like, oh my gosh, I just got my interior design degree or something along those lines. And I was like,
I had my business license.
Business license. Okay.
Before.
And it was awesome. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have a client that needs an interior designer. And this was kind of an asshole move. I'm sorry, but I was like, this gal's a pain in the ass. But
she was nice.
She was nice, but she needed a designer, and I happened to know one. And then poor Jess comes to me and is like, I don't want to be an interior designer.
So to clarify for internet land, I'm not a qualified interior designer. I do have good taste.
Yes,
I do decor, and I'm pretty good at spatial arrangement.
Very good.
So now I'm an organizer on top of coaching, and this client needed interior design services, and I was happy to do it, even though I was not qualified as an interior designer.
It was just more funny. She's just like, I never want to do this.
And I got a really great lesson. I'm quite attached to my ideas. And so that was a really fantastic lesson for me, that once I put so much work into something, I want the person to love it. And I was not able to let go the way that you're supposed to when you're working with other people. And so I backed off.
It was just cute. I was like, oh shit, I've ruined her. Oh no. In Jess's defense, it was 1,000% that client, but it just cracked me up. I was like, oh no, I'm sorry, Jess. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have unleashed her on you. But it was funny and we bonded.
It was a great experience.
And then we went on to organize other things.
Yeah. I love organizing because you're just working with what you have. Yes. And so I'm able to not be attached to the outcome. I just want it to be what you love.
Totally. I feel you. I had a client recently and I suggested this one item and they didn't like it. And I was like,
but yeah,
it's okay. Yeah. We don't have to like it. It's fine. So I totally feel you on that one. But yeah, lots of good stuff in the works. So
amazing. So, okay. This conversation was jam-packed. So you're just going to have to go to Kat's website. I'm going to put a ton of links in the notes below, but just go to Kat's website, thesimplifiedlife.com, right?
Yeah. Fun story, pro tip, kiddos. If you Google a website name, do it in a private browser, or a bot will buy your website name, and then you have to pay a lot for it, because I was .org because I did that for a very long time. But we are now .com. So I hope I saved you $5,000 too. Write that down.
That's great.
But yes, also I do offer free 20-minute Zoom little mini sessions just to make sure we're a good fit, do a little chemistry test, make sure you like me. And we can usually get through a little tiny space or a drawer or a shelf or something in that, or just talk through what you're stuck on, what you need help with, and figure out where I and my team can best help you. So.
And she does have a team. Sometimes I'm part of that team.
Yes, and Jess is amazing. So if you need your garage cleaned, it's probably going to be both of us showing up, because I don't do garages alone anymore, because it's just more efficient. Yeah. We also have a handyman on deck.
You have a great team. You do have a great team.
I have an amazing assistant again. Praise Jesus. So, and that's the thing, that's the self-care fitness guru that I'm working with. Her big ethos is a team. Just always remember that there's often a lot of shame, unfortunately, in saying I need help. And yet here's the thing, I need help. I have a team that supports me. When I had to go through a bunch of sentimental shit that had been in my parents' shed for 18 years, I called an organizer. When I had to go through stuff from my divorce and moving out, I called her. I was like, I can't do this on my own. And that's the thing. Always remember, it is about those emotions, because my client that tripped over a box for 5 years that was literally just right by her counter, if there wasn't a ton of emotion she didn't want to face in that little box, she would have gotten rid of it. So just remember, like, it is emotions and it's scary. Most of us weren't given tools to deal with them. And so there is no shame in saying, like, hey, I need help. You know, the fitness guru is kicking my butt because I gained 20 pounds in COVID, because I went from an in-home organizer to a Zoom organizer. So like, I need to move more, but I need help with that. I need some motivation. She, self-care guru, works with Jillian Michaels, big deal, needed help decluttering. Like, be vulnerable. We all need help. We do. Yeah. Whether that's me or Jess or someone else you call, get a team together. You are not alone. Period. And life is so much more fun and so much easier and so much more fulfilling when you have that team.
Yeah.
Preach. Sorry. Get a little worked up about that one.
So, another thing that blocks people a lot of the time is the price. People are like, oh, that's too, I'll do it on my own. It's okay.
Oh, can I talk on that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, because I'm $449 for 4 hours. I'm $249 if you want an hour one-on-one coaching where we're actually diving into your emotions. I know, not cheap, but worth it. Now, here's the thing. When you're like, I can't afford that, I want you to assign a $5 value to everything. Just sit in the middle of a room and assign a $5 value to every item you see. And that could be your TV or that could be a coaster. Just $5 for easy counting. Go through and tally up how much you've spent. And the average American home has 300,000 items in it. So times 5, I'm not going to do the math, but that's a lot. I think that's over $1 million. So you do probably have the money. Unlike maybe an ongoing therapist, usually we come in, we make a big, huge change in 4 to 16 hours. Average clients need about 4 sessions. But we uncover and get through stuff that probably has been there 20 to 30 years. So how much is that stuff costing you? How much is that storage unit costing you? How much is holding onto that crap you don't need costing you mentally, physically, emotionally, financially? I kind of feel like you can't afford not to clean up the clutter. And then once you do that and everything has a home and you're not buying duplicates and you feel good and it's calm, you start to be aware when you're shopping, oh, I actually don't have room for that. Or, oh, if I bring that home, where is it going to go? oh, maybe I do have to get rid of something. And so it actually begins to save you money because you're not just buying willy-nilly or to fill an emotional void. So I'm sorry, I get passionate about that one too.
I know you're super passionate and I love it, but you're also extremely compassionate when you work with people. So
I am.
Well, yeah, I love working with Kat. I love Kat. You guys will love Kat. And I have also hired Kat to help me because my place just got out of control.
Shit happens.
It was really, really helpful.
Well, and that's the thing. I think I have another program called What Kind of Keeper Are You? And that's going to get fleshed out a little bit more. There's some YouTube videos, though. You can pop on my channel for that. But we all keep for different reasons. Like we keep from a past life because we're sad that it's over, but we still have that outfit from it. Or we keep for a next life because we know that one day we're going to live in that mansion in the south of France. But right now we're in a studio apartment, but we found the perfect couch for that mansion. Well, it doesn't fit and it's making you miserable. Or we keep because of guilt because, oh, so-and-so gave it to me. We're a gifted keeper. My mom gave me that and I can never get rid of it. And I feel you. I have a whole bin of shit from my mom that I will probably never get rid of. But if that happens over and over again, it becomes a problem. You know, or we keep good money. Like that's the big one. I spent good money on it. Okay, but how many times did you use that couch that you spent 10 grand on? You used it a ton. You used it every day for 30 years. You can let it go. Or just in case, I'm keeping this just in case. And that's usually the scarcity mentality. And it's like, oh my gosh, if I get rid of that, like even the toilet paper, like don't at me people, because I didn't hoard toilet paper and I never ran out of it. I don't know what y'all were doing with the toilet paper, but never ran out of it. So you really don't need to keep just in case. And then there's kind of just this type, the life happens keeper. She's a busy girl. She wasn't there a lot. She had 10 minutes, dropped that bag down, had to go do things. Oh my God, I'm tired. It's bedtime. And she just needed a little help because she didn't have the time, and that's okay. Like a lot of you moms just had that second baby and things were great with one, but holy shit, now there's like a tornado running around. So learning, just to tie it all full circle, starting to get in touch with the emotions about why you keep typically ends up saving you a ton of money. We can help you learn why you keep things in certain ways. And so even if there is a cost to it, there's a far bigger payoff in savings. I don't know. Yeah.
And I've noticed also that once people are able to let go of things, it's like, oh, you created space. Now I can, you know, the universe is like, now I can deliver you this next thing. And
oh my God, the people that have lost weight, gotten married, quit their shitty job, gotten their dream job, had a windfall, gotten an inheritance, found the perfect XYZ they were looking for after decluttering their homes and cleaning out, like the list is endless. Like I think I might actually write a blog post on that because yeah, energetically when you're hanging on to everything and hoarding, you're just saying, this is all I have. There's no room. This is it. This is it. When you open up and release and let go, suddenly energetically there's this space, this flow, and then the universe is like, here, thank you for making room for that. Here you go. This is what you wanted. So it's really powerful.
I love it.
Yay.
Oh my God, this is so packed. So I can't remember all the things, but there were a ton of programs. So
they're all on my website. I'll give you the main link. Yeah, but I'm on everything at The Simplified Life or / The Simplified Life. I'm gonna burp, excuse me. Other than that, yeah, come find me, say hi, come over on Instagram. I'm on that the most, honestly. I hate Facebook, don't tell. But I love Instagram. I'm usually there, kind of rocking through my day, putting up before and afters, doing lives and interviews. I got to get you back on there again. Yeah, I think that's all I have.
Yay. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you, Kat. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And yeah, we'll see you guys again soon. Maybe talk to some of you that are enjoying this conversation.
Please do call me. Like I said, free consultation, figure out if we're a good fit. And that's another thing with cost. I can work with any budget, just FYI. Like, you're going to be doing more of the heavy lifting on your own if you have a smaller budget, but I mean, we have something for literally everyone. I work with everything from college kids. I actually even just did an 8-year-old last week to get her ready for school.
Oh, how cute.
I know, it was super cute. And everyone was like, she's the hoarder in the family. She's the hoarder. I'm like, that kid was getting rid of everything. So important thing, even if people have labeled you a hoarder, that doesn't define you. That's not necessarily true. Yes, there is a certain subset that is a diagnosable thing. That is very uncommon. I've had 2 out of over 1,000 clients that were like that. But just don't let people's perceptions, you can always change. You can always do something different. All it takes is one little shift. But anyway, that being said, I worked with everything from kids to Silicon Valley billionaires. So bring it. I can help you.
Oh, thank you, Kat.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.